This is inspired by true events and it's on Lifetime, so you know it's Tubi-level quality. Ed enters his wife's house and finds blood littered everywhere. Scared for his wife's safety, he dials 911 to report the situation. About 6 weeks ago, everything seemed normal between Ed and Jade. Ed is a lead surgeon in a hospital while Jade is a product designer. Megan Good is so fine, I wish I looked like her. One day, Jade arrives at her job and Liam congratulates her for bagging an award. He compliments her design skills but looks like he'd rather split her legs and sample her kitty in the nearest restroom. However, he snaps back into reality and looks forward to seeing her at the company's award dinner later that night. That afternoon, Jade arrives home with her sister Lee after shopping for her dinner dress. Her daughter Kayla looks excited to see them, while Ed focuses on Jade's new dinner dress. After Lee leaves with Kayla, Ed takes another look at the dress and fakes a smile. Deep down, he hates it. That evening, Jade wears her new dress to prepare for her dinner award night. Unfortunately, she finds out that her dinner dress was cut, and it's obvious that her fugly husband is responsible. Ed, more like an empty head, hates the dress because he feels she looks like a whore in it. Ed over here looking like a prolapsed elephant. Jade remains calm and agrees to wear a different dress to please his taste for the unseasoned. During the dinner night award, she gets called to give a speech. She gives credit to her team and makes the mistake of hugging Liam. Ed sees this, and his animal instincts take over. Liam is fine. Leave your sorry ass of Michelin-looking man and be with Liam. Ed waits till Jade is home before he shows his dominance over her. He suggests that Jade not let her sister watch the kids because she has bipolar disorder. Then he suspects Jade and Liam have a thing. He lays his hands on her and reminds her that he picked her up from the gutter when she had nothing. His insecure ass gets the better of him, overanalyzing each word Jade says as an admission of cheating. So he slams her head on the wall. Y'all, someone get Tyler Perry because he made a movie just like this one with Megan Good called Divorce in the Black. Later that night, he plays their song and expects her to spread her legs. A few days later, he eats with her and tells her to work from home or quit her job. However, Jade tells him that she is already working on a project with her team and can't quit yet. Her refusal annoys Ed, but he gets called to the hospital before he can get crazy again. Kayla witnesses the whole thing. That night, Kayla weeps in her bedroom because she knows her mom sheds tears in private. Miss Kayla girl, tell your mom she can do better than Ed. One day after Ed leaves for work, Jade packs her bags and leaves the house with Kayla. She goes to Lee's house for the night while Ed returns home and finds out that she is gone. It takes a while for the stupid ass to process what just happened, and he loses his shit when Jade refuses to answer his calls. Ed kinda looked like Cuba Gooding Jr., but without the good. A few days later, he pretends to be a sweetheart and offers Jade some flowers at her job. He reminds her how he was there for her when her parents died. Using emotional manipulation when being there for your spouse is the bare minimum. He throws the flowers in the bin when Liam calls Jade to attend to some clients. A couple of days later, Jade lands another client at her job and Liam compliments her. The compliments are a little bit too much from someone who is just a normal colleague. He proves all our suspicions right as he licks his lips when Jade turns around to leave. Suddenly, Ed appears at the parking lot when Jade tries to leave. He angrily hands her the divorce papers. Even when Jade threatens to file a restraining order, he tells her that it will not work since he thinks the police will not believe her due to Ed's doctor status. He then threatens to cut her up in a million pieces. This is truly sad. A man like that should not be allowed to live. About 5 weeks later, Jade moves into her new house but notices that someone is watching her. The next day, while Kayla trains with other kids, Ed arrives to flaunt his new girl Diana to make Jade seem jealous. To his surprise, Jade does not give an F. She over here rejoicing and praising the Lord that her ex found someone. But Miss Diana girl, yo ass better run for the hills. She even declines an opportunity to pack her remaining things from his house since she does not need them at all. One afternoon after she finishes with work, a guy in a hoodie tries to kill her at the parking lot, but Liam's presence saves her life. After the hitman runs away, Liam tries to ask her out on a date, not knowing that she is terrified for her life. As you'd expected, Jade declines and drives away from the scene. When she gets home and does not see her daughter, she panics and calls Ed. Kayla is safe, but her useless father pretends like he knows nothing about the hitman. After the call, Jade arrives at the police station to report her case. Since Ed's best friend is the police chief, she refuses to say what happened to her. She confides in her sister at night and tells her that no one will believe her story since Ed is seen as a saint. She cries as she narrates how her useless husband beat her up in the past. Lee feels bad for her and then swears that she will never let that wasted sperm lay hands on her sister again. Ed's mom should have swallowed. Since Ed is practically untouchable, She plans to take him down by making him admit to his crimes. The following day, Lee and Kayla leave for an amusement park. The hitman arrives in front of Jade's house to finish her off. Jade starts to fling everywhere in the house, her hand all bloodied up. That evening, Ed arrives at Jade's house and finds blood littered everywhere. Again, he pretends as if he knows nothing about his wife and calls 911 to report an emergency. Lee arrives with Kayla shortly and panics when she learns that Jade is missing. She already believes that Ed has a hand in the case as much as he tries to fake innocence. Scared, Ed secretly calls the hitman and begs him to get rid of Jade's body. Meanwhile, Jade is somewhere in a motel looking very much alive. Yes, gone girl his ass. It turns out that she injured herself and spilled blood everywhere to make it look like she was attacked. She threw her body like how I throw my ass back. Later at night, two detectives arrive at Ed's house for an interrogation session. During the meeting, Ed focuses on the fact that Jade has had a history of depression to make it look Jade was mentally ill. He includes Lee's issue with drugs, since she told the police about his abusive nature. The meeting ends as Ed manages to take himself off the spotlight in the case. The fool arrives at work the following day, not knowing that Jade is watching him. When he gets to the hospital, Jade hides in her car and watches as the hitman opens Ed's car to get his payment. This hitman's shady since he knows damn well he didn't kill Jade. Meanwhile, Ed gets a call and finds out that a reservation has been made for him at a restaurant under Jade's name. That evening, Jade follows the hitman to his house and keeps close tabs on him. At one point, the guy calls Ed and informs him that he has gotten the cash and has dealt with the body. This man's just trying to get that bag. Meanwhile, Ed arrives at a restaurant and checks the table reserved for him. Here, he finds a note addressed to him, and in the note, Jade reminds him that it is their anniversary. Seeing this scares Ed so much that he almost pisses his chastity cage on the way out of the restaurant. The following day, he meets with Lee to talk about what happened the previous night. After Lee hears what he has to say, she reminds him that he tried to kill her sister. She then threatens to end his life if anything happens to her sister and slams the door in his fugly-ass face. A few hours ago, the hitman left his house and Jade snuck in. He dropped her wedding ring on his table and went through some of his criminal records. Now she studies the document and learns that the hitman has been convicted before. When the useless hitman arrives home, he expresses shock at the sight of Jade's wedding ring on his table. The following day, Jade arrives at Ed's house but sees her daughter playing on the road. She then steps out of the car to find her daughter only to hear Ed coming her way. Scared, she hugs the nearest tree and keeps a low profile to avoid being noticed. After Ed leaves, she sneaks into the house and copies a file into his computer. The next time that Ed hosts a lecture session with his junior colleagues, he uses images of human organs as a reference. On switching through them, Jade's picture appears, and it gradually turns into a rotting corpse. Ed loses his shit after seeing this, and his instinct causes him to send everyone out of the room. Bro gets home that evening, only to see Jade's torn dress hanging in his bedroom. Terrified, he dashes to the hitman's house to ask for proof of Jade's death. Fraud Slade Wilson shows him Jade's wedding ring as proof, knowing that he did not complete the kill. At least he manages to make Ed believe that Jade is dead. Meanwhile, Jade watches all that goes down from a window. After Ed leaves, she tries to sneak out but mistakenly draws the hitman's attention. As a result, she sprints to a corner and hides to avoid getting caught. The useless hitman seamlessly tries to find her, but he lowers his guard and gets smacked in the face. Jade runs for her life before he recovers. In her absence, he heads to his apartment and picks up his bags to flee the city. Sadly, he gets arrested on his way out since Jade already called the police on him. Later that night, Jade enters the woods and takes pictures of herself to make it look as if she is dead. Meanwhile, Ed finishes work and approaches his car to meet his new girlfriend. His girlfriend's appearance gives him the impression that she is Jade, and as a result, he tries to choke her. It takes a while before he regains himself, but his girlfriend takes no excuse and flees. Yes, girl, that man, the epitome of trash, looking like 50 cents before picture. As Ed struggles to make sense of his situation, he gets a call from the police station telling him to come over. He arrives there shortly and meets with his best friend Sean and two other detectives. Here, he sees multiple pictures of Jade lying dead in the woods and panics again. The fact that Jade might be dead does not bother her. He just wants her to stay dead and out of his business. I'm literally dead. Megan Good made her face look ashy as hell, looking like Tyrone Biggums. The following day, he loses his shit and lashes out at Kayla for no good reason. The babysitter, Kelly, arrives shortly and takes Kayla to school. In their absence, Ed sees a bottle of liquor and tries to find happiness at the bottom of it. That afternoon, Lee receives a letter from the police, and the sender is Jade. On reading the letter, she learns that Jade is alive and well and is moved to tears. In the meantime, Ed performs surgery on a patient with his team. He freaks out at some point, and his shaky hands almost cost him the patient's life. One of his junior colleagues reads the room and takes over the operation from him. Outside, another doctor meets Ed and advises him to take a leave from work. Even after hearing this, Ed insists on working, but the old man reminds him that mistakes can cost his medical license. That night, the coward hears Jade's voice in his house and panics till he grabs a gun, thinking that he can fight against a ghost. However, he fires a few shots at the door and breaks down when he sees no one there. Meanwhile, Jade was just casually using Bluetooth to play her voice with the speakers inside. His little cop buddy goes to check up on the commotion and tries to help him realize that his wife is dead. Ed's impulsive behavior that night causes him to temporarily lose custody of his daughter. He arrives home the following day only to find his house littered with flowers from his wedding. Seeing this worsens his condition till he kneels and cries like a little bitch. That night, lots of people gather at a spot to attend Jade's memorial. Even homeboy Liam there, who said he won't get to date Jade anymore. Ed arrives at some point and is forced to listen to Lee's humiliating speech about him. He then realizes that he needs to confess the truth so that he can get a clear conscience. However, one mistake from Lee gives him the impression that Jade is alive. He follows Lee home, ignoring Sean's advice to stay for the memorial. After Lee leaves the house, Ed enters and looks for Jade. Eventually, he finds her, but he wastes no time to choke her. While choking Jade, Sean enters the house and points a gun at him. "Yes, Mr. Pinkhole, save our girl." Jade says she would rather die than be with his ugly ass. Just like that, the fool gets arrested and Jade gets her life back. What did y'all think of this one? I'm glad Jade found her happy ending. It's unfortunate that stuff like this happens, and it usually doesn't end well for the woman.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.